Okay, let's go ahead and get into the stock market technical analysis. I'll just go through the broad markets. We'll look at some individual trade ideas, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up. Okay, so first things first, we're looking at triple Qs. Down day today. It's been pretty choppy really all week. You can see, really in the last couple of weeks, it's just kind of been moving down. We move up, down. So just, there's nothing technically that's really changing as of right now on the triple Qs. The bigger picture, it's just a down day, but the bigger picture on this one is this uptrend line on the daily chart. All right, this is the trend, the bull trend that the market's been in all year. And so we continue to watch that trend for any indication of a trend line break. Probably going to close the day right around that trend line, right on it maybe. I don't think they'll just break it today. The market sold, triple Qs has sold off pretty good amount today, so I can't really see it breaking. And then we'll see how next week comes out. If we gap down next week, that would be a break of a trend, and that's likely going to usher in pretty impulsive selling. So keep an eye out for that. I don't know if it's going to take place, or we might get another bounce off this trend line support. This is support until it's broken, so until we see a major break of that, there's no real reason to be heavily short on triple Qs. I do think it will break. I just don't know whether it's going to break next week or if we bounce next week. I just don't know that. Negative divergence has been building on this one for a while. So to me, it tells me that, sooner rather than later, it's going to break. This trend line will break. Usually when these things break, they usually do they break pretty impulsively too. And they trap a lot of the long money. So could get a big gap down on Monday. It's hard to say, but if anything, if I had to pick one direction, I'd rather be short, maybe not heavily short, just kind of a starter short with room to add, with full anticipation that we could hold this support here and bounce. Okay, and that's why I don't want to be heavily short, but maybe a starter short, and then if we gap down, you could add to it rather than trying to chase on a large gap down. So that's all I see on the NASDAQ. Let's go to the futures here. NASDAQ futures. Now, the NASDAQ futures, as far as I can tell, has already broke that bull trend. So you can see here, this is pretty much all of, let me go ahead and adjust this. My contract rolled, so I have to adjust my trend line just slightly, like about right in there somewhere. I'd have to tighten it up. But in general, we have a bull trend here. And this trend was clearly taken out and broken. Okay, so you broke trend, somewhat of a back test. We're starting to put in a series of lower highs and lower lows. You can see high, lower, low. We've got a low. So if we run down and take out those lows, it's just will be obvious to all that we're in a downtrend. You don't make any money if you take a position when it's obvious to all. You have to take a position before it's obvious to all. Because when it's obvious to all, then everyone repositions, and that's when the people who took the position before it was obvious make the money. So you can't wait till it's just slapping you in the face to know when to take a position. So it looks like we've started a downtrend. Okay, and again, negative divergence has been in place for a while to help confirm that. So I think there's more downside. We just need to take out that trend line in the triple Qs. Let's go to look at the SOXX. This is kind of one that I think is, this does have a technical change today. So what I've done here is adjust my trend line to be, catch all the bottoms, support. Recently, just we're holding support. And you can see today, right here with this big red candle, as of right now, unless the buyers step in towards the end of the day, which maybe they will. Watch for that. That's possible. But as of today, that's a break of trend on the semiconductors and a sell signal. Big negative divergence. I've been talking about that for a while, and I've just been saying, hey, we're looking for the sell signal. There it is right now, as of right now. So that means semiconductors are breaking down, at least as in an aggregate. And that will have, that's very likely going to put the nail in the coffin for the tech sector. Semiconductors are often the bleeding edge of tech. So we'll watch for these to continue to break down, and then as well as triple Q to start to break down as well. We've already seen signs in in tech, like here's Apple, the largest stock. This was your upward trend line. This was your, it's a bearish rising wedge, but this is basically what's been in play all year, clearly broken down, all right? Big sell signal, bounce back down to the lows. We're likely taking out the lows and heading lower. So Apple is not in an uptrend, all right? And so the bulls that seem to think that we just never go down or will always be in an uptrend because we've been in an uptrend, those are the ones, they'll ride it down to the bottom, guys. So they'll be pretty quiet for a while, and especially if we're going to continue to go down. Google, bearish rising wedge, talked about this, but there it is, bearish rising wedge, negative divergence, just waiting for a break of the wedge, all right? And I think we're going to get it relatively soon. Meta looks the same. Meta's actually, this is technically changing a little bit. Meta has this big bearish rising wedge here. We broke that wedge a while back. So there's your big sell signal, back test down. I think we're just starting to trend lower. So Meta to me looks like it's just starting the next leg lower. And if I zero in on the hourly chart, you can see over the last week and a half or so, we set up in this hourly bearish rising wedge, hit the resistance right up here, and boom, breakdown and sell signal. So that has us heading lower. All right, on the hourly, that has us heading down to about 278, and then probably get a little bounce there. But then in general, so that'd be down here, but in general, I think we are starting that next leg lower on the daily chart. Okay, moving on. Netflix. This one broke down. I told the private member group about the sell signal yesterday, or 2 days ago actually, and it's been nothing but profitable ever since. So Netflix, you'll see here, you've got an upward price channel. You have negative divergence building. All right. This negative divergence tells me be on the lookout for a reversal in trend. The dumb money just continues to stay in it and tell me about how things will only go up, especially on like a day like this. Like this is like the dumb money. They see a day like this where it pops right into resistance it's nothing but bullish. It's up, 5% in one day. In reality, that's one of the most objective areas to actually be short. So, or take your profit if you are long. Trending lower. And the bigger picture is we broke trend right here 2 days ago. So I gave the private member group that trade, pointed it out. It's been nothing but profit ever since and likely continuing lower. All right, so next leg lower in Netflix looks like it's underway. Oil, haven't been covering oil a lot, but it obviously has been gone up. The charts weren't super clear to me. We did have a buy signal right here. That was a buy signal. I didn't trade it. But in general, I've seen resistance here on oil at about 93.50. Several reactions right in there. So about 93.50 is the next level of resistance. We're almost there. So that is one thing to look at. And then also the interest rates, TNX, this is really critical, sitting right there at the most recent highs. This is a critical level, 432.5 or whatever, basically right where we're at. We pop higher on rates. You see a gap higher or something on rates, the market's likely going to panic and you're going to see a strong sell-off. So I continue to lean that way. Here's what I'm thinking. Whether it plays out, we're either going to have a double top, but we already hit it once. We got rejected. We're back at it. So I think what we're going to do is pop up on rates, run for a day or two. The market's going to completely panic, and you're going to see money moving out of equities into bonds. And as the money moves into bonds, that will drop rates. All right. And then I think we take out this trend line and we have a sizable correction in interest rates as money is flowing out of the markets going into bonds. Okay, for a safety play. So I think there's going to be a safety play going on, which also lends to gold. Let's look at gold. You see the miners, they're all up today. GDX, to me, looks like it's breaking out. Let's see, there it is. On GDX, you can see we have this kind of downward channel and a breakout right there. That is a breakout, so that looks good. Here's gold futures. I think the metal has a little more work to do. You can see resistance, 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 and we're still within that trend line. So no change there in gold. The miners look like they're starting to front run though, potentially the metal. So keep an eye out for that. Gold futures also has bullish divergence right here. So you'll see there it is, boom, bullish divergence. This was a divergent low. So I think the miners are front running the metal. Let's look at Newmont, a large miner. You'll see here former resistance. Let me kind of tweak this. Former resistance right here is, and we got a breakout. So I think we're going to run up to this downward trend line. That on Newmont is the next level of resistance, all right? So a little bit more upside on that one. And then, you know, who knows, could chop around for a little bit and then ultimately break out. But and then Newmont has had bullish divergence. So I've talked about this one, you know, I've been bullish on this. I do think it's probably put in a bottom right here and likely going to run, bounce, and then ultimately break out. DraftKings again had this bearish rising wedge right here. Broke to the upside. But as I zoom in, the critical thing when we broke to the upside, because usually when you see the upside break of bearish rising wedge, they're kind of stop rate or bull traps. So you gapped up, traded up here for almost a month it looks like, and then you gap down, trapping this long money. Now, so then you have your sell signal. The sell signal broke when we broke the wedge, right? When you gap down, we also broke to the downside of this bearish rising wedge. So that was your sell signal. And then we had a counter trend rally into this group. But again, there's supply right here. There's sellers right here because all these traders here, they got trapped on that gap down. So when they get their money back, they start selling. So there's supply here. There's a wall of overhead resistance right in there. So I think that's probably the top when we start to roll over. And then if I look at the hourly, if I want to narrow it down on that one, you can see, you know, this is your little counter trend rally, support, and then break, and then back test for a little bit. I think we're starting to roll over. Nothing definitive yet on this one. So this one's still, it's not a solid looking trade quite yet. But again, like I talked about earlier, by the time it's obvious, the money's usually been made. So it still is technically looks pretty decent to me. Okay, and I have given out several other additional trade ideas to the private member group. I'm going to keep those within the private member group, at least for today. So if you guys are interested in getting additional actionable trades, then join up on the private member group. It's like $5 a month, link in the description below. And I'm always in there communicating, giving it additional trade setups. They don't always work, but usually what I'm doing is just kind of prepping you guys. And then if I see a trade that's actionable, that's the quickest way I can get the trade out to the group is in that private member group. So those are going to remain in there and they are profitable for right. Did I cover home builders? Let's look at this PHM. This is the one I've been talking about on the public channel for a while. PHM, I like it. It's a great short setup. It doesn't have, I can't guarantee it's going to work, but look, we got this upward channel, lots of reactions on this daily chart. We have big negative divergence that's been building for a while. If you guys aren't familiar with what that means, then check out my private, well, not really private, but my stock market technical analysis course. It's a course designed to teach you how to read technicals and what to look for in the charts. Link in the description below. So then this one, sell signal, that's your sell signal right there. Boom, break of trend, sell signal. And yeah, a lot of the bulls and the people that just follow price action, they just see a pullback. They just see, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. And that, you know, and that's fine, but technically this is where the tide shifted basically. So I see when this happens, when I see it, I say sell the rip. I don't say, hey, if you enter a short right here, you're going to be profitable and we're just going to drop like that or just plunge and nothing but down days. That's not how it works. All right, even when things are going up, there's pullbacks along the way. But we broke support, so it's sell the rip, all right? So you rally, you sell down. You rally, you sell down. You rally, you sell down. Now we're basically kind of sitting right around support. You know, I had this trend line right here. You could say we're below it. You could move it down to here and just give it the benefit of the doubt and say we're kind of right there at support. It's close enough where I think we're very close to actually breaking that support level on this one. So I still like it short. I do believe we are heading down. Next target, next profit target is about 65.50. I've been talking about this one for a while. Still looks good. Kind of bouncing off that support area. Look, here's your bullish falling wedge. All right, see that wedge? I got this trend line drawn out, and if you kind of run in, there's support, and we hit support right there, bouncing off support. So I think that's the bottom. All right, we could get another pullback, but it's tested that support quite a bit. So I really think that's probably the bottom, and we're going to start to move higher, trend higher from here. Again, this one also has big bullish divergence, gigantic bullish divergence that's just been extending and extending and extending. The divergence really started to show up right about here, August of 2022, and it's been extended. We broke out, we broke out of this wedge, back test, and back test number 2. I think that's it. I think we're going to rip from here. There will be pullbacks along the way, but I do believe we are heading higher. And if we go to the NASDAQ futures, this is the hourly chart. But again, this is kind of the wedge we've been in. So you can see support. I adjusted this support, and I think we're kind of right at support, just below it right now. But I suspect they're going to recover this and hold this for today. So we'll watch that, and then we'll pick it back up next week, guys. So that's really all I need to cover. I'm going to get the video out. Catch you guys on the next one. Bye.